Insulin.
Okay, are we on the PDF?
I'm in PCI.
PDF? Is it
It's the
PDF?
book, yeah, it's on the book. It says.
Oh, that's the ebook.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all different. So let's go, I use the PDF. Huh? 3 to 5. Okay, on the P? Refrigeration. Okay. Oh,
They were asking for the.
do I need duration here?
The
No.
peak is 0.5 to 3.
0.5 to 3. You know, 5 hours out is scary. Even that. You know, you could have a person bottoming out. And then we'll talk about all the safety variables, you know, as we go along. Like NPO, for example, or nausea vomiting, or can't eat or something. Okay, regular insulin is our probably most popular, and it's the safest too. So what is your onset for regular insulin for the PDF? About right, one more. What's our P? 1 to 5. Yeah, 1 to 5. It's kind of weird on that one. And what's your duration?
6 to 10.
Yes. That sounds very familiar. Okay, what are your intermediates? Okay. Duration? 24 hours, yeah. Very good. See, that's absolutely right. So if you look at the peaks on both the, so MPH is going to look something like this. You know, enlarging Lantus looks like this. A little bit. It's so nominal that they you know, it's it's insignificant, the peak levels. It's virtually, as they say, peakless. Some literature will say peakless. Yeah, she's got the right idea. Because this is exactly where I get it. Y'all are very welcome to take a picture of it. Please do not take a picture of my face right now. Yeah. So, what's to memorize? I think this is one of the big memorizing things for the next test. So what I would do, I would actually make a graph. I would reproduce this graph right here and memorize all those. And then what I'll have, am I going to put like tons of questions on this? No. What I'll do is I'll take like your short acting, I've already given you the answer for that one. It's going to be 5 to 15. But the rest of them, like the regular, it could be any of those. Any 3 of those, same thing for MPH and Lantus. Okay, since this is a high-risk drug, let's talk about how you're going to go about a safe practice with insulin. So, you know, we have our sliding scale, AOC-SS, where you have regularly read scheduled. Oh, yeah. We also have the combos. Okay, you have your combo meds, 70-30 and 75-25. This concept is going to be on your test. So let's talk about this, and then we'll go back to the graph over there. What exactly does this mean, 70-30?
Short and long?
Yeah. It's a percentage of what? Let's do the 70. So what is the 70%? In pH. So you're intermediate. What's your 30%?
Regular.
Yeah. This is old school, but they still have it because it works very well. So remember, this is scheduled. You know what a lot of nurses forget? We have 30% of regular insulin. Are you going to be giving these regularly scheduled insulins to a person who is nothing but health? Exactly. So what you're going to do is you're going to call the doc So these are your variables that you have to be better than the net. Yeah, the nurse, better than the next nurse, because you're going to know, you're not a robot, are you? I mean, think about it. A lot of nurses are robots. You know, they have a med list, they just want to get their med pass done, they're tired. You know, many of them don't give up. And so they just want to get their med pass done so they can sit down or whatever. You know, you see it, let's be real. And so they're going, oh, okay, I got my med pass done, but they didn't do any analytic thinking and critical thinking while they were doing this process. This, to me, besides your initial assessment, your med pass is the next important thing in terms of safety. Did you kill yourself?
Sure could.
Oh my God, that's Can you kill your patient with meds? I think the first day when you came to the pharm class, what was the first thing you said? What's one of the quickest way to kill a patient? Through pharmacologic agents. And this is one perfect example of it. You gotta, everything you give to them, you gotta think, oh my God, you know, I could really harm them with this medication. So you have to use your analytic thinking, and what I'm trying to say about that. Okay, so say like you work on a post-surgical unit, and you have them actually pre-surgically. They just got to your unit from the ED, they have appendicitis, cholecystitis, you know that they're gonna go for an appendectomy, cholecystectomy, whatever. But you have to also think, you know, if they're diabetic and their blood sugars are high and they have maybe some stuff scheduled, you have to think, oh my God, when are they going to be nothing by now? Or, you know, so that's a big one. So you have to find out. How do you find out if they're nothing by now? Can you call the doc, the surgeon? You bet you can. Yeah. So if that's right, you have to know what your diet is. And if they, and that's really a good point, I'll tell you why, because sometimes they come in and write new orders. I think docs are doing order entry, and I don't know if they come to the unit always. Sometimes they'll write an order remotely, but usually they look at the patients and they write orders or enter them. So yeah, you gotta be awake, alert, and oriented yourself to know if a doc's, the changes. That's another thing that could be missed. So know what their status, and if they haven't written that, ask them. When do you plan to take the patient to surgery? Because there's complicated cases, like some ortho cases where they have edema, that they can't work on them like right now. They won't schedule them for surgery. They have to have that edema go down a little bit. So you have to give clarification and tell them why. Because you have maybe perhaps from another doc, they wrote orders, you know, for that patient. You could even have endocrinology following them. Yes, and those oftentimes do not work together well. So as a nurse, as an RN, you guys are constantly clarifying stuff, right? So, so you're gonna call and say, you know, what time do you plan to make them nothing by now? And the reason is I have insulin scheduled for that. And what are they going to do? Most likely hold the insulin if they're going to make them nothing by now, even in the near future. You see where I'm going? The other thing too is, what about for these? These are scheduled. These are not sliding scale, right? So it's the same thing. You have to think what's happening now, you know, like planning for that NPO status, and you have to also think later for the same thing. Does that make sense? Immediately and later. Like, what if they're going to do surgery tomorrow? Well, if they're having, you know, if they're able to eat until 12, you know, at least clear liquids or whatever, you're okay, you're covered. That insulin is okay to give. But if they're going to make them nothing by now later, you have to question these. You see where I'm going? Because you could be at home, and your patient, the fact that you did not check out when they were going to be NPO, when they were going to go to surgery, your patient intraoperatively could be bottoming out. You see where I'm going? So you have to elicit information so you don't lie. Now they could give them, this is a thing, they don't take their blood sugar intraoperatively. They might, they probably do in certain cases, but not really regularly. And if they're under anesthesia, can you tell if they're hypoglycemic? Not really. So you don't want to be responsible for giving this NPH or your glargine and having them bottom out later. So care enough to ask them questions. This one here, the same thing. Remember that there is that 30% irregular. Down here, these are your short actings. You have the GLAR, and then glargine, and then you have the Lispro or Aspart, one of the two. Same thing. You have a rapid acting, and you have a longer acting one here. It's the same. It's a concept, isn't it? It really is a concept. And if I had an NPO patient, and remember this is scheduled over here, or again, going back to that scenario of maybe a post-op patient throwing up, they can't even eat. And all they have for maintenance fluid is saline with some KCl or something. See where I'm going? And no dextrose. So you've got to assess every situation. Think about insulin. See, usually we think about insulin covering the patient. The calories, right? The blood glucose. Think about reverse. You know, do you have the insulin covered? No, I don't, because they're NPO. Does that make kind of sense? Think about insulin, what it's going to do if they don't have any intake is what I'm saying. You got to watch your insulin, cover that insulin, because that insulin will kill them if they're nothing in my mouth and they have no glucose on board. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Please memorize this. Yes, there is memorization in your school. Yeah, but if you have to give the sliding scale and the schedule of glargine, you have to give it. But they're good. They're better because I remember when they came out with those, like all these new insulin stuff. But when the Lispro came out, I said, "Oh my God, this is dangerous." Because of the onset, that 5 to 15 minutes, it'll knock them out right away. Their blood glucose. So, and then the glargine is dangerous in that it will last longer. But the best thing about it doesn't have a peak. So there's goods and bads to with that. Okay, good. We got that out of the way. This is my number one thing, is all the safety things related to it. So when you give insulin, think, bless you. Oh my goodness. No, glargine is Lantus. And then Lispro on this. Yes, go to the middle. Yeah. And see, this is more conceptual than anything, isn't it? Like knowing that you have 25% and 30% age, rapid acting or irregular acting. That's what you really want to think in your head. Sort of like, does that make sense? Yeah, it's like, that'll knock them out. It's scheduled. Insulin is based on what sliding scale. It's based on what their glucose is now. Are we ready for we're going to do an exam review. You guys ready for this? Oh, I got my cards here too. My test, like I did this, it worked out well. It worked out really well. The questions clearly were good. And really the evidence is that you guys did well on those. There were like 5 new things that I added. And so we're going to do that today, okay?